Another home service franchise brand coming up next on Meet the Zor. This time we're talking Ideal Siding. Coming up next. All right, Alex. The first question is the easiest or the hardest, the way that it depends how you look at it. But how did you accidentally fall into franchising? What is your franchise story?
Hi, Nick. Thank you for having me on your podcast. My background is computer science and finance. I was working for PayPal. I was supposed to be in consulting or some kind of IT or fintech. But what happened is in PayPal, they were allocating me to a lot of marketing things. And slowly over time, I just became engaged in online marketing, digital marketing. And I did it for all my life now. So at some point, we had a lead generation company. Well, we still have it, but one of our verticals was siding. And we were generating more leads for siding than any other company in North America. And we had revenue share, performance-based marketing. So we would charge percentage of projects that are completed. So we were allocating all our focus on getting those clients who would actually convert to the project. And my goal was to build 50 corporate locations of just siding companies, because I saw how those companies that we sell leads to, they could do it way better. And I knew exactly how, but they wouldn't listen to me because I'm just a marketing guy. I met with Brian Scudamore, the guru of franchising. That we are in Vancouver. He's also in Vancouver. And I asked him, why don't you just add like a lot of corporate locations? Like it seems like you have such a great brand, good unit economics. Why not? And he explained me why franchising is better. And I'm really glad I met him and he shared this wisdom, because it is way better, because we wouldn't be able to do what we have right now with corporate locations. So this is how I ended up running a franchise company.
Okay, so a few things I want to unpack from there. Awesome on the digital marketing side, because the way that the business is born is you pulled an insight. You saw what the demand was like, and you saw that there was a gap in the service side. And so you're like, we can solve this on both sides. We can actually market for customer acquisition and then the franchisee acquisition. As you were buying these digital ad campaigns, was there anything else that was coming up towards the top, or was that the leading indicator of that's absolutely the business you have to go into?
Oh, it's definitely more than that, because we had different verticals. Some were better in terms of economics. Some were just bigger volume. But in 2011, I was director of church, and one of our members of church, also my friend, he was siding installer, and he got his salary cut in half. He was making $4 a square foot, and then he boss told him, he was like, from tomorrow, everyone is making $2 a square foot. And he was just struggling to feed his family. And me being a marketing guy, I told him, like, maybe I can help to find you clients directly, so you can work on it directly. And he said, well, nobody knows you. You will not be able to get any clients. And it's like, well, this is not how it works. Like, just trust me. Like I do it for a lot of other companies. And I put a website, did SEO, did paid advertising, did some social media, and started getting those clients for him. Because when I called other companies, they were charging $20 a square foot, and he was getting $2. So I thought materials might be super expensive. Then I called material suppliers, and materials were $2. And I was like, wait a second, materials are $2, installation is $2, companies charging $20. What's going on? So this is how I got engaged in siding in particular. And then because I was listening to interview of Charlie Munger, and he said, if you have 10 years ahead of you, where you would have the biggest influence? And I thought, what if we change the whole siding industry? What if we allow every homeowner in every city in North America to actually get a good company that will not run away, that will give them a good warranty, good service, good pricing? And would it be something I would allocate 10 years of my life towards it? And I was like, well, yeah, yeah, I think we can grow to over $100 million system wide as a siding company. Would it be a great achievement to invest 10 years of my life? I was like, yeah. And I just saw it was a combination of things. I knew I saw the need. I had a lot of leads, different cities. I flew to meet with the top siding renovation company at that time to see how they're doing it. And when I left, I was like, yeah, I can definitely see how it can be done way better. And then we started testing it and slowly opening different markets. And so far, so good.
So a few more questions off your
Sure.
initial statement, because I think it's awesome. So you help your friend out, and what I'm hearing there is you saw the gap was larger than you expected, because $2 is what they cut his pay in half, which they should have actually paid him double, but they cut his pay in half, and then the product side was only $2 extra. That means the profit margin was 16. And so when you're looking at this, you're like, that's fine if there's transparency both to the employee and to the customer, but that's missing in this as well. So you stand up his business. Is he a franchisee of yours now?
What happened is when I told him I have clients, let's go, he said, I'm afraid to lose my stable job because this is a business, this is risky, I have to feed my family. So he sent me his lead. So he was working with the lead crew lead installer, and he just sent me basically his boss. And it's also a cool story. We got with his boss to go and meet the first client who called. The guy, he didn't speak any English whatsoever. He was Russian guy. He didn't speak any English. So we are meeting with the customer, and I have no idea how things are called, like what is stream, what is fascia. I had no idea. And the guy didn't speak any English, but he looked like very professional. So we met with the customer, gave him a price, and he was like, it's $20,000, and the client's like, done. And I was like, wait, I'm doing marketing services. I'm trying to charge $2,000 for a website, different clients, and they give me a really hard time to give me this $2,000 project. And it's $20,000, and the person's like, done. And then he invites us for to get some tea, discuss colors, options. And he's like, I understand, you guys are half of the price of everyone else. I'm kind of concerned that if you would be able to do it. But the screw lead that I brought, he was like all tool belts and like jacket, like it was super professional, nice truck. And I told him, listen, what if we don't take any deposit? Like we have zero deposits policy. You will only pay us milestone payments when you see progress, when you see materials, when you see demolition done. Like, what if we don't take any deposits? He's like, sure, that sounds great. I will gladly. Sorry, I'll just do the project with you. What happened after is that we decided that we would not charge deposit from other people, because year before that, what I didn't know, there was a company in Vancouver who took $2.4 million in deposits for siding jobs and closed the doors, and clients could not do anything about it. And it's like, this is like, if I'm a homeowner and I want a reliable company, I have a choice in painting. Like there are good brands. In plumbing, there are good brands. Like, but in siding, there's nothing. And it's the most expensive piece of renovation. Siding is more expensive than windows and roofing, than flooring, kitchen. Is the most expensive piece. And I just thought there must be a company that will serve those clients who actually want to have outcome guaranteed or lower risk. So that's how it kind of everything made sense to just launch a franchise.
So you understand digital marketing, you understand finding the gap in the marketplace, and like if you and I are sitting around and we're brainstorming, the reality is, in my opinion, both the marketing side and the product gap exists in power washing and pool service and dog poop picking up. And like, we could pick anything that exists in a service or construction element back to the home. Is your brain right now like, I know what the widget is, I could do this again? Or is it going back to Charlie Munger's statement of, are you just completely committed to siding? Because it seems like you perfected something that's bigger than siding. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. It's a problem of shiny objects. Like every month, I see an opportunity. It's like, we gotta do ADU, we gotta do this, we gotta do gutters, we gotta do this, because I know exactly how to do it better than a lot of other companies. But like franchising industry is very good because you can ask for advice, and a lot of wise people in franchising told me is you got to focus on this one brand, just make sure franchisees are happy, everyone is, everything is growing. Don't start second brand until everything is under 100% control. And this is what we're doing. I thought that we can launch a couple of other brands, but what if we build the largest siding company? Would it be cool? We can have 3 mediocre brands, or we can have one top company in a $60 billion market.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, probably we'll just focus on this one. And once everything is stable and everything is under control, franchisees are happy, they have teams, everything is working, then we might consider doing something else.
How many units do you have now?
We started franchising like in Canada 2021 and in States 2022. Now we have 42 units, 36 franchisees. So we typically, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
So last year was our first full year in States. So now we are finally getting our 18-19, which is really, really good. So we kind of expect that we're at this beginning of hockey stick that like January, February, like next month, we will actually be able to show the results of our first year of franchisees in States finally. And that's, it looks pretty good. Like, so hopefully we'll be able to grow at even faster scale.
I have so many questions for you. So with the franchisees, I mean, I see this all the time. They're not afraid of marketing, but they're hesitant because they feel like it's the unknown. And they're like, yeah, of course I'll spend money if you can show me a proven system. Now you have a proven system. So out of curiosity, as you've onboarded franchisees and you're like, I know what I'm doing. Have you run into the roadblock of they're like, I hear you, but I don't want to spend money?
Yeah, oh, for sure. So we do all marketing in-house. So franchisees don't do any marketing whatsoever. And to me, doing marketing, especially in home services, where it gets quite competitive, especially when you're fighting for those good clients, bigger ticket clients, renovation clients, it's naive to expect someone to become a good marketer overnight, especially in this fairly competitive industry. And since I've been in marketing, I also know how some agencies work. There are some good ones, some bad ones, but it takes a lot of organic and a lot of analytics work that agencies would just not invest money in it because it doesn't make sense for them, or this one local company will not invest. So just on from our side, we can deliver way more leads at way lower cost to all franchisees. So we don't sell leads anymore inside. All leads go to our franchisees. But we do all marketing in-house. We have in-house call center, so everything goes as well because we don't want to do marketing and then lose clients because nobody pick up the phone. Then we do in-house designs. We have in-house designers to help create design for clients. So we don't expect also franchisees to be design experts. Then we have recruiter in-house, also free for franchisees to help them to hire teams, because what we learned is that even the best franchisees struggle to hire someone. And then we have director of finance who's helping with all the like accounting, bookkeeping related stuff. So we try to bring a lot of things in-house to help franchisees with all those most difficult pieces. And marketing being the number one. I think in home improvement, if you have leads, if your marketing is done well, it's half of your kind of result and half of your success. So when we have people who are skeptical and they're like, Alex, I'm not sure if what you're saying, this work. We tell them like, please go talk to our franchisees. We have 96% recommend rate in franchise business review. Like all our franchisees are happy, all of them. talk to them. Do they need to do anything else except for showing up on appointment? No. So after they talk to a few franchisees, they're like, yeah, okay, it looks like it's working.
So I'll put this asterisk on front of it. Obviously, you're doing a lot of things well. So that's the asterisk on front of what I'm going to say. But I go to your franchise site. What you just said is such a beautiful story. And I always go to a franchise site and I'm looking for what is the YUI now. What I just heard was like front and center, anything you read on this website, cut the deck. Go talk with our franchisees. And then beyond that, like the YUI now, yes, you perfected siding, but the story on why siding, and then the fact that you're like, we don't expect you to be an expert in marketing, design, and customer acquisition, because you're not. Like, we want you to be an expert in customer relationship. And I look on your website, it's stock images, and it doesn't tell that story. So
yeah,
would love your opinion on that. I mean, like, because again, I look at it and say you have the ability to sell something here that is bigger than what you're positioning now. Does that make sense?
Oh, for sure. I think telling the story is extremely important. We have our story on About Us. So if you go to About Us, it's there. But what I learned is that people would not go to our website if they never heard about it before, because the siding is such a niche market. So our goal is to do more PR this year to actually tell the story. Because one thing is to have it on a website, but if it's somewhere on other related, website or YouTube, and somebody reads through it or watch the video, they would actually go to our website and know the story. And what I also learned is that franchisees are coming to us and probably to all other systems with completely different goals and completely different their stories. And they would relate, maybe not to me, but our VP of training or director of operations more than me. So I don't want to be company about me. I want to be company about us. Like we have an amazing team, and each franchisee might connect to a different person within our team. And at the end of the day, I'm not the company. We are building the company, and franchisees are the company. And we're still kind of this stealth mode, because not many people know about us, and we are very new. But I love when people call us and say, "Oh, you also do this. Oh, you also do that." That's awesome. Like I really love to over deliver and under promise. Like this, I just love it.
I agree. I agree with you that ultimately the franchisees buy from franchisees. Like the all the pieces that you said, but and probably part of it is because you're modest. I think your story is awesome. Like if I think about, this is not the easiest comparison, but you think about what Tesla was. Tesla was a different approach to car building and car experience, but people would connect with Elon in the way that he's positioning the story. Eventually, then you're connecting with other Tesla drivers because you're like, I want to be like them.
Right.
But I do think there's some value in your story and the way that you approach this, because even the finding the gap in siding, like I've used this example before, but we helped a carpet cleaning franchise. What I found there, all the digital marketing in the world could get them customers, but at the end of the day, that customer wanted the best price. It was always about a price war. And if you search for carpet cleaning in a marketplace, there's 7,000 matches. So now how can an owner stand out there becomes very challenging. Like, you have to be a really engaged community owner operator, or from a growth strategy, it has to be in so small markets where there's fewer competition. For you, like a long time ago, we worked with AZEK and TimberTech. And so when they were launching their siding line, they were trying to get the distributors, those that were out in the field, to now go sell their product. And it was a hard thing because it's hard to figure out where are these folks. And now you're almost crafting that industry. So anyway, the point is, I like what you're doing. Like, siding doesn't have to be the sexiest thing in the world, but ultimately it is part of the first impression of a home, because you see it when you're walking up to the house. I think it's impactful. I think it's awesome.
I actually think it's sexy. Like, I've been doing this digital marketing, and we had websites where we have millions of people every month, and it's nothing I can show to my kids or my wife. It's like, hey, here's a website. There's a dog here. It's like that. here now I can drive. It's like we did this house and that house, and with this one, look at this. Why like look at the pattern, or look at the design, or contrast, or this element, or this feature wall. It's actually sexy because it's tangible. You can touch it, and it's a creative and technical parts combined. Because we do crazy technical complex projects with like net zero, rain screen, but also we do designs that then win awards later on. I don't know, out of all renovation industries, in my opinion, and I'm biased, of course, siding is the sexiest.
I mean, look, I think what we just did is we brainstormed. When you have millions of dollars and you create your first national Super Bowl commercial, it's going to be a guy walking into the bar, and it's just going to be different types of siding sitting up there. And it's like, hey, how you doing? Can I buy you a drink? Like, there it is. We figured it out. So let's end on this, because it's very easy. I mean, for me to see what the business opportunity is. You've kept the cost low. You've solved the pain point for, say, someone that is in the field or in the field adjacent of, boss comes to you and says, I know you used to make $4 square foot. Now you're making $2. So you know who these people are. Is there anything else you want the buyer to know if someone's watched this video to this point?
Well, I tell candidates that if they find a better franchise in our category of, we are still kind of low investment category, I'll send them $100 gift card to Amazon. I read through all of these. I didn't find anything better. Like, there are some really good brands, but they charge twice what we charge with all the fees. There are some really good brands, but there are no territories available, and other things. But we are quite picky at who we pick. We have some really, really amazing guys, and I'd say the only thing I would say, even putting everything else aside, is that community of franchisees that we already have is just unbelievable. And to just join, to be part of this community, it's like a private club that you're joining.
I love it. The only thing you need to do on next podcast is you got to do the interview outside, because you don't do anything in the inside. Why are you sitting inside and talking to me? You need to be doing this in front of that sexy siding.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's rainy outside in Vancouver, so it's really miserable. I would just like shaking an umbrella, but yeah, we can definitely show some of the very, very cool design homes.
Look, and I've already said this, but I mean, I look at hundreds and hundreds of franchise opportunities. Now, obviously, there's still the franchisee has to go to work and make sure that they're taking care of the customer. Like, you're setting up a good business model. The fees are structured right. The cost to get in is sound. You're being protective of the club on who's allowed to actually come into your business, so that validation continues to climb. You have proof and concept in both the sales and your structure. You're doing all the marketing. Like, it's hard to find a flaw in what you've set up from a business standpoint. I obviously said on your website, if it were me, I would tell a stronger story, even celebrate your franchisees. Sure. But you've done a great job at setting this up. I think continuing to play back the protection of the club, because when you've engineered something that the costs are low, you're automatically playing in the bulk of franchise buyers, and so being protective of who you say yes to is going to be the most vital element of this business. Because when they wave that check and they go, "Let me in," it's hard to say no. But if you're like, we're in this for the long haul for what we're trying to accomplish, I love it. I think you found an area that not a lot of people are playing in, and they'll come. Like, there's no doubt whenever even the big multi-brand home service franchises, they're either going to come to you and say, Alex, let me buy you, or they're going to say, Alex, let me get your intel and go create my own. Like, it's going to come, because anytime a new concept hits the gutter cleaning, which is so simple, as soon as it hits the franchise model, there's competitors. But you're doing everything right based on what I can see. I think it's awesome. I look forward to seeing where your story goes. And kudos for you. Like, you're stacking the advice and putting it to work, and I think it's awesome.
Thank you, Nick. Yeah, thank you for kind words.
Of course. Well, for Alex, I'm Nick. This is another episode of Meet the Zor.